Welcome back to another episode of Generational Debates. I'm Christopher Davis.
And I'm DJ Harding, man.
It takes a second to realize every time we do
I'm
it.
sorry, right? It's just instinct to like think you're gonna introduce me. I don't know why, even though at this point I must be a regular. My brain is like,
You are regular, bro. Listen, you just lock in. Anyway, hey guys, we're back. Your two favorite NFL analysts. Real quick, the Super Bowl. What a horrible game to watch. That wasn't fun.
oh my
But
word.
as a hate watch now, as a hate watch for the Chiefs, amazing, incredible, amazing, immaculate hate watch. As a fan of the actual sport of the game of the sport, what the fuck was I saying? I don't care. Anyway, this is on my channel. I'm cursing anyway. This ain't getting monetized. I ain't as big as you yet. I don't care. But anyway, when it came to the actual game and being a fan of the game, that game was terrible. Seeing Mahomes just completely look lost out there, seeing like he just doesn't, know what the heck he's doing. The Eagles' defensive line feasting. The Eagles' defensive line literally, it looked like monsters of the Midway. Like it looked like 85 Bears, 72 prime Steelers.
Fearsome foursome. That's what it gave. You know why I say fearsome foursome? They didn't blitz and they had 6 sacks. That's ridiculous. They let this man, Josh Sweat, look like Deacon Jones. I was not okay with it. Because for you, your hate watch was successful. My Saquon Barkley hate watch went terribly.
Well,
I'm sick. I had to watch this man do exactly what I wish Derrick Henry did this year. 2,000 yards, offensive player of the year, and win the Super Bowl. So I am sick to my stomach watching that game.
Yeah.
Also, it's just awful game over. I was here for the Patrick Mahomes GOAT debate too, and he ruined that in one fell swoop. As a Patriots fan, he better win 8 and blow somebody out to get back in our conversation at this point. That was the worst game he's ever played.
Yeah, I just think that again, we see this. If you our box score watcher, you did not understand any of the context of that game because they put hands and feet on them for it was 40-6 at one point, y'all. This wasn't Mahomes.
Wasn't it 34-0?
34-0. That mind you, it was 27-0. I was like, oh man, but Chiefs devil magic, it's gonna come.
That's really how I was.
And then literally when Devontae Smith caught that touchdown, I was like, oh yeah, this shit over. All right.
Literally, because we had a party at my crib, and I legit was like, all right, y'all, we've seen crazier things. And I was like, all right, this is his moment, 28-3. This is his moment to do it, get the 4th one, really put himself in that conversation. And they came out, they didn't score. I said, okay, as long as he get a stop. Bucket. I said, all right, well, all right. It was nice watching. All right, everybody, you might as well go home and goodness gracious. They said he's never been down by that much in his career.
Yeah. Which again, testament to him and his greatness. But I think that when it comes, and we can talk about the GOAT debate right now, when it comes to that,
it's dead.
It's tough. It's real tough. Because I'm not gonna lie, Brady ain't never get Brady go down swinging. Wait,
here's a stat for you. Ready? Go down swinging. Brady's 3 Super Bowl losses combined, the combined points he lost by 15. Mahomes in 2, 40. He's clips. Also, Brady already beat Mahomes. That was already the worst part of this. Was you already had to try to argue for he beat Brady already beat him. Now it's all right, dog. You've gotten whooped twice. This is bad. Because now the ref narratives are bad.
The ref narratives being gone is crazy because again, they weirdly called the game evenly. I was like,
and that's what makes it worse. It makes it worse.
They we're calling the Chiefs stuff, and they call that terrible pass interference call, the terrible call that some of the Chiefs had with the whole helmet hit, all that stuff. I liked how the game was called and officiated. But again,
I'll be honest. I was not mad at the pass interference call because he did smack him in his face. Now, granted, it was a little petty, but I'm he kind of did low-key just mushed the dude, hand fully extended. I was like, everybody's freaking out, and I was like, well, I mean, if he didn't extend his arm, I'd be like,
when
no.
You've seen worse happen. It's
I was like, well,
remember that T. Higgins touchdown where he yanks down Jalen Ramsey's face mask, that's a little different than
a little polite push,
But I think that again, Super Bowl bad watch. But Kendrick did his thing. Hey, that's all I care about. For real. I was like, hey, My girl put hands and feet. Literally, what? How you gonna walk, smile evilly, call that man live on television? He
Hey,
smiled like the Joker. He broke the fourth wall.
that was wild.
He break the fourth wall.
I tell you this, he walked and had more yards than the Chiefs did in the first half. So he
Yeah.
because they could not get the ball for nothing.
Didn't do a darn thing, and
That
I
was
think
bad.
that who
They had 23 total yards in the first half.
yeah,
That number is. I was
who
like,
can blame more for this loss though? Is it
honestly, they really just got outplayed. Like I don't even know where you start and end the blame because like the defense looked awful because they allowed 30-something points. The offense looked awful. You couldn't gain no yards. Like I don't even know where do you start and end this? Like as a group, just the Chiefs as an organization just had a very terrible day. They clearly left their talent in Kansas City for the week and forgot they had a game to play. Like clearly
this is not the team we saw all year.
No.
Clearly, after that Buffalo game, the Buffalo game felt like, okay, this is peak Chiefs powers. Mahomes is back, throwing all these dimes. Xavier Worthy emerging. Also, Xavier Worthy being the only dude showing up. Hey,
very disgusting.
Shout out to him. Shout out to
him, but like very disgusting that he was the only one that actually showed up. But also he showed up in the second half, so it was like, well, you get
at least DeAndre Hopkins could say he caught a touchdown in the Super Bowl.
Oh gee, that was really the killer. Like when he dropped that ball, oh boy, I was like, D-Hop, what are we doing? Like you're supposed to be the one person who's supposed to be secure. Like you're the most reliable guy. Remember when he had the one in Houston when he had the one-handed guy over in versus Pittsburgh? Like what happened? I was like, dog, you were brought here to do this is the moment. And I was like, eesh. Yeah. Oh my. I mean, the other thing too with Mahomes, though, I will admit this, and I think people are starting to lose sight of that because of how bad that loss would look. Besides Chase and Brady, that man really has nothing else to prove.
No.
Like that's the thing I feel like it's like lost in the conversation a bit because everybody's like, "Oh, that go debate ends," and I was like, "What's crazy though is he's still with this loss. Like you can still argue him the second greatest quarterback of all time.
Yeah.
Like besides the Brady race, there's really nothing else for him to really prove. That's why, like this, I'm like, if anything, he really didn't lose much besides the like, okay, you had to do some fantastical stuff to get back in that GOAT debate, but that's really it. I mean, the biggest winners is obviously the Eagles because you get that monkey off your back, if anything. So like,
and also, this is what I wanted to ask. This is what I want to ask you. I'm going to also ask you on Pick'em Pros. Is Jalen Hurts top 5 now? Now, because he has the strongest logistical argument for 2. If we're going off of what everybody says, what every NFL fan claims to talk about when it comes to winning, appearing in the Super Bowl, and getting there, he's done what those other 3 dudes in the AFC haven't. Because, and again, Mahomes being there is a big contributor to that. Yeah. Not going to discount that. However, he showed up, whooped him, had one of the better performances against him. Because I remember, like,
honestly, here's what I think of it as. Mahomes in this scenario is Jordan in like the 90s NBA. Jalen Hurts just made himself the Hakeem Olajuwon in this scenario.
Ooh, right.
Because the other 3 guys, their resumes are all going to be tarnished by if you don't get the big one. And Mahomes is pretty much like shut down all of this, like in a very crazy way. So that's why we like looking at it, and I'm like, like you really could make an argument like he's got to be back in that conversation. I mean, depending on the time of day, and plus the whole tush push debacle, and it's not like he's like making fantastical plays, and he has a great team built around him. Like during the seasons when it comes to, like winning MVPs and stuff, like he's nowhere near the conversation because he's not putting up any crazy stats. But if we're going off of as everybody you say is, if it's about the winning. Mm-hmm. He's in the conversation now. Yeah. He's one person in the league right now who's toppled Mahomes for real.
Mm-hmm. And he could be in that discussion because again, with Lamar, with Josh, with Joe, it's like, because again, to me, it's like, is Patrick, I'm obviously going to have Lamar too, just because, that's my favorite.
I mean,
that's my favorite quarterback. We know. Yeah. Josh is 2A and 2B. And I'm going to talk about the MVP thing before we get into our offseason talk too. But Lamar, Josh, Joe, Jalen. And Jalen literally could be above Joe if I
honestly put him above Burrow.
He could be. I'm not ready to put him above Josh because I really want to see Josh win the big one, which might make it sound like I'm lazy before I really rip into this next take. But yeah, so this next part, listen. How do you vote a man first team All-Pro at the position that you consider the most valuable position in the NFL, and all of a sudden he doesn't win MVP
Wait.
He's second in MVP voting. Now, mind you, they revealed the ballots.
Oh yeah, everybody got snitched out, which
Yeah.
I was so here for.
I
I
was
love
so
that.
happy. Dan
I love the
Orlovsky,
snitching.
Emmanuel Acho, you will cough in 3 days because what the hell was that?
Okay, I'm the one guy who put Lamar in fourth. I'm really looking at him.
How? Like,
ready? I will do you one. I'll do you one better. Do you know the last time a first team All Pro QB didn't win MVP to the second team All Pro QB?
87.
John Elway. What in the actual heck? They tried. I didn't like one graphic. They tried to sneak McNair in there with Peyton Manning. I'm like, no, they co-MVP them for some reason. That should have been McNair's, and McNair should have been first team All Pro QB in my opinion. But that's a different rant for a different
day. I understand the debate. I understand how great of a year Josh Allen had. However, and I again, this is my favorite quarterback and wanting him to win MVP. But him getting no awards for a prime Aaron Rodgers level season with 900 yards on the ground. Like, what are we talking about here?
Once again,
he did something. He's fourth all time in passer rating. All time of all the quarterbacks to ever throw a football in NFL history. He's top 4 in passer rating.
Well, you know what happened. This is if Joel Embiid made a conference finals and then won MVP. That's Josh Allen right now, respectfully. So you might not put Hurts above Josh Allen. I'm gonna do it respectfully. That was Joel Embiid if he made the conference finals a few years. That's what that was. The same way that with Jokic, it was like, all right, you can't give him a third one already when he ain't won or whatever. That's what they just did to Lamar. Because also the other thing that once again the content that people are not gonna want to hear that. If you give him a third MVP, he is immediately going straight to Canton, and he is in a conversation for top 10 quarterbacks all time. You could almost argue possibly sneaking in the top 5, and people were not going to like that. Because you look at all the quarterbacks who've won 3 MVPs.
All I'm gonna say is that, like, hey, just because he wears a grill and he's in Baltimore, I'm not even gonna have that discussion.
See, I just left it. I didn't want to hear it
because we saw CBS Sports. After that playoff loss, I texted you.
Yes, we were laughing about that one.
6 posts of this man crying when he lost.
Josh Allen, yeah, Lamar lost. They were like,
Patrick didn't get that sympathy. Patrick did not even get that sympathy. They were like, oh, yeah, Patrick.
You gotta remember something.
He's no longer to go. What?
Oh, yeah. Oh, see, I wasn't gonna touch it, but I snuck it in with the Canton argument. Because once again, when you allow him to go into Canton, that's the second black quarterback to ever get in. Because the only black quarterback to be in there is Warren Moon, which once again, already an atrocity in itself. Because I think McNair and McNabb have great cases personally.
No cutting him.
Still, especially Randall. But at this point, I'm more so like I'm talking about the modern era ones. Because at this point, Randall's been gone. He's been retired long enough that he needs to get on the back end as the as like one of those. I forget what the official word for it is. Like the one that been like the tenured guys have been out.
The alumni,
yeah.
It's like the innovator thing. Like the innovator is the coach. I don't know what. I think it's like the honorary or like the alumni.
Yeah, it's like another word for it. There's like a special word, but basically the guys have been retired for 25 plus years. Like he needs to get in that way. But he better get in that way.
He needs to, because that is, to me, that's an atrocity of the league. Like, now the MVP loss. Listen, Josh had a great year. When I say this, I'm not discounting the year that Josh Allen had.
No,
he is very talented. He is very good at the game of football. But again, prime Aaron Rodgers season with 900 yards on the ground, and you tell me you're not MVP. All right, bro. Lamar needs to go score.
He literally did the dual threat thing for real.
Yeah.
As much as I love a Randall, as much as I love a Vic, I mean, Justin Fields had his great rushing season. He actually ran like they do and then threw like the quarterbacks do. Like, what are we doing?
I don't know. But anyway, now we're gonna, because the greatest sports season is over. Hey, we got to talk about the offseason. So, of course, we're gonna start with the Champs Division, the NFC East. We decided to do a little fun thing. We're gonna choose a song to describe each team's season. So, for the first one, I'm gonna choose for the Eagles, 100 Summers by Meek Mill. This is my favorite Meek Mill song. Basically, he talks about him wanting to ball for 100 summers, for all the people that lost, for all the people that has carried him to this point. You see, with the Eagles team, all the upheaval and all the change to even get to this point, with all the losses of Sean Desai, of Matt Patricia, happy losses by the way, of their offensive coordinator. You see, I was gonna be funny, but then I was gonna get serious. Like, yeah. But anyway, when it came to those losses, you get to see like how much like they built themselves up. You see what Vic Fangio's defense was able to do. You see how Kellen Moore, now head coach of the Saints, how good he engineered that offense. You saw like Nick Sirianni come into his own after rumors of him getting fired after that embarrassing collapse. After the great collapse last season, seeing them rise up and ball like this, Jalen Hurts, all the personal losses for Vic, he went from being benched for Tua to now being a Super Bowl MVP.
Yeah,
that needs to be talked about as one of the greatest modern redemption stories in sports right now. And again, my favorite hot take that I have is if Joe Burrow like never existed, Jalen Hurts would have won the Heisman back, would have won the Heisman that year. If Joe Burrow doesn't, be Joe Burrow, like go score shirts with Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson, Jalen Hurts is winning that Heisman. I don't care. And then he put hands and feet on him in the championship. But again, Oklahoma's defense, like what you gonna do with Lincoln Riley defense? Like, come on now. But again, I think that Jalen Hurts has constantly been down and constantly been underrated. Then we get to the Saquon of it all. I mean, cut by his team. Cut by like the team that drafted him number 2, saying you were the key to this franchise. The owner said, I'm going to have a sleepless night. He's going to have to stay awake for the rest of his cold, miserable
I hope he do.
For letting that man go to a team with a superpowered offensive line. And what I'm saying about is Jason Kelce doesn't get to like be a part of this Super Bowl team because like I bet like Cam Jurgens was hooping the whole season, so I'm not even going to talk about it. He like
oh my gosh,
everybody was a warrior, but like imagine if Jason Kelce was with the Super Bowl team, man, it would be crazy. But again, I feel like that's a testament to this season. I mean, even the loss of James Bradbury, he's gonna, just chill on the bench. Shout out to Quiggan and Cooper DeJean, man. Sometimes you gotta subtract to win, and hopefully they ball 100 more summers. So that's my song for the Eagles. What's your song, bro?
All right, I went old school because you know me. I went Shalimar the second time around. The second time around, because that's what they did. They came right on back and they won it. So I gave respect where it's due. I mean, like you said, you've already did the whole come up story. So my song hits the same chord as yours does. I did pick some songs from players though, so I had to give Saquon some credit. I went the far side running because that boy was running. I mean, he was running away. But first of all, he ran away from the Giants. He ran away with all the records, ran away from the defense. Like he was just running, and he pretty much ran them to a Super Bowl. I understand that he didn't have the greatest game in that Super Bowl, but at the same time, the Chiefs defense executed on him, and Jalen Hurts just aired the ball out over the top of them. So give him some credit. But for Jalen Hurts, I also went the song with him. I went Joe Public, You Live and Learn. You got to live and learn, because that's his whole story. If you think about it, let's talk about it. I mean, you already said it. Like, he's been setback after setback after setback, and he's lived and learned, and he's fully just made his way to the top. I mean, you said it, greatest redemption arc. You're getting benched for Tua. You get to the league. He was playing on the bench with the Eagles for a bit. Then he gets to start. Then he gets Super Bowl, gets knocked out, gets trounced in the first round by the Buccaneers last year in some wild fashion that no one saw coming, me included. So hey, I give him some credit. He lived, he learned, and he got to the top. And I'm pretty sure he said something like that when he lost the Super Bowl too. I'm pretty sure he gave a quote just like that, if I'm not mistaken. Kind of like that. You lose and you learn. So for Jalen Hurts, he lived and learned, and hey, he's on top of the world right now. He's at Disney World too, so he really was on top of the world.
Gotcha. So for the Commanders,
that boy's out. You didn't see him on the Tron life cycle. He was living his life. That's all I'm saying.
I will definitely look at that clip later. Okay, so for the Commanders, I'm gonna say "Count Me Out" by Kendrick Lamar, because you see their offseason and you see everything about how much they were down. Like, is Dan Quinn the guy? Is Cliff Kingsbury a guy? Like, who is good? Like, to me, like, that's a testament of this Commanders season. Regardless of how you feel, they shouldn't have even been in the AFC Championship. Like, that's how people were talking about.
You're
that.
not wrong.
Like, they get the 60. They're like, oh, it's a rookie QB. He's not going to do it. Beats the Buccaneers, clutch drive. Oh, he shouldn't be here. Beats the number 1 seed on the road in their house. In their house, loud. Detroit fans were going crazy. Beat them in their house. was putting up a fight, put up a better fight versus the Eagles than the Chiefs ever did. Like, let's talk about.
Oh my
That
gosh.
is a perfect song because like it's Kendrick's journey, like with his own mental health and realizing that like, hey, I love it when I'm down and I love when people don't like see the best of me. Because every single time, like there was nobody but the Commanders fans believing in us. It's like there's nobody but you looking in the mirror for the fall off. And they're just looking at themselves.
Okay.
And they're just like, no, we got this. We're going to win this. And again, Jay Daniels is a California kid, so of course I went with the Kendrick song.
That makes sense.
But,
yeah, that was smart.
And again, greatest rookie quarterback season we've ever seen. I mean, that boy cold. And I think that, the sky's the limit for them next year. The opening weekend, I want to see Eagles Commanders.
I'm not mad at it.
Opening weekend, I want to see that game.
I think they're gonna go Eagles Detroit though. I think that's gonna be. I think they're gonna go Eagles Detroit. But Eagles Commanders, I would not be mad at because that'd be a good one. For the Commanders though, I had two because I was tied, and they kind of have the same theme. So first, I went old school with it. I went Dougie Fresh, keep rising to the top because that's really what they did. They just slowly just rose up, like you said. No one saw them coming. But the other one, I kind of said with their season, I went New Level by ASAP Ferg.
Oh,
I told you I was going to surprise you. I told you I was going to surprise you with one. I told you I was going to surprise you when you're like, you listen to that?
You could.
I'm on a new level because they, at the end of the day, they went from all the way second pick to full-on contenders, but then also going into this offseason. You're on a new level now because the only downside to Jay Daniels having the greatest rookie QB season ever, which the song I picked for him was J. Cole, Rise and Shine. Because I was like, he rose up to the occasion. But the only thing is now is you put yourself in a conversation where people are you have expectations now.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only thing though. Now granted, in the NFC East of all places, they've never have a repeat winner. So I'm just gonna throw it out there now. I think the Commanders are gonna go win a division next year because they never have a repeat winner. So I think the Commanders are gonna go do it. But at the same time, there's expectations now, and people are expecting you to get back to where you went. So that's why I picked that song, though, because it's just, hey, they're on a new level now because
they are, and
they're contenders.
And again, to just talk about this quick LSU fan, Jay Daniels praise, man, I am so happy that he went to a city like Washington. I was so mad. This is the one time I've had like FOMO of not being in DC because I wanted to see the Commanders fans outside. Like,
I got screwed when I went. I went to a game when he played the Panthers, had the one good run, then he got concussed the whole game. I was like, are you kidding me? The one time I go see the boy play, he's gonna get out immediately.
Man, you missed a Hail Mary game. Like that would have been a great thing.
Oh my goodness, I would have lost my marbles if I was there for that. That would have been wicked.
But I think that again, the Commanders, just great season. You know, shout out to my auntie Ethel. Like she's been a lifelong fan, so you know I wanted to shout her out. But yeah, so next song for the Cowboys, I chose "Good Luck Babe" by Chapel Roan. Listen, Brian Schottenheimer, baby. I don't know.
I'm not buying it.
Not at all.
I'm
not buying nothing that the Cowboys are selling. I'm sorry.
Amen.
They already rich enough. Jerry, listen, man. Listen. I don't know what you doing right now, bro. Because you could have just kept Mike McCarthy. Like, I don't even see the point of this. Like, I think, okay, one, you could have signed Derrick Henry or Saquon to like beef up your running game. Didn't do that. Rico Dowdle had a great season though, so I'm not even going to do it.
I'm sorry. I understand
Rico. It's not like Saquon and Derrick Henry. We know this.
No, but it's more like I respect Rico, but it's like he should have been the Tony Pollard in a 1-2 punch.
Fair. And I think that like again, they've just been taking so many steps backwards. They're talking about like potentially shopping Micah. They're like,
well, you heard him on his podcast. I'm going to the Chiefs by 30, so you might as well get something for him.
Yeah, Micah. I ain't gonna say how I feel about him.
I admit though, that quote was the reason why I feel like, as much as I respect the players having their own podcast, I'm like, see, this is why y'all shouldn't be allowed to talk sometimes. Because now that quote's gonna follow you. That quote's gonna follow you for the next couple of years.
Yeah, no, it's gonna say you're a ring chaser and you don't accept the grind. And I'm like, yeah, you feel me? Like I'm just
And also now any year they don't win, which is the Cowboys, so they won't. Everybody's looking at you like, so you're gonna leave now? Like,
you gonna leave? Where you headed, bro? What's going on?
Boarding flights to Kansas City. Like that was him just then. Like it was crazy. Like what was he doing?
because I don't think now again there were a bunch of injuries, so the Cowboys could rebound. But man, I don't see it. So yeah, good luck, babe by Chaperone. It's a song about hey, you got to stick with your crappy decisions, and you better decide quick. Well, because I'm gonna be fine regardless. Now, yo, good luck though. Good luck though. But anyway, what's your song for
Okay,
the Cowboys?
so now mine is a niche reference to sophomore year. Do
Okay,
you remember when we was roommates? The song we used to play when we had the fire alarms.
yeah.
That's the song I picked. Portrait, here we go again. Because these dudes, every year, we're talking about this our year, we them boys, and find a way to lose and fall apart every season. So honestly, when you saw the song for the Cowboys, my brain was just like, here we go. We're going through the same thing. Here we go again. Because they just every year it's something different with these people. And like once again, it's another year where I'm not buying whatever they're selling as you poetically put it. I mean, once again, you're in the same place where you've paid Dak all this money, so he's got to be your quarterback. Granted, he was kind of injured for parts of this year, so no shade to him. But like, I'm not. At this point, my trust in Dak has disappeared.
Listen, Kenny Pickett has Kenny Pickett had snaps in the Super Bowl before Dak Prescott even reached one. What are we talking about here?
First of all, he had snaps in the conference championship before Dak Prescott reached there. Let's do you one better. Skip the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl, that's a joke you can put for Lamar and Josh Allen.
Yeah.
He had more snaps than Dak Prescott in the championship game. I ain't buying what Dak's selling. CD Lamb, I mean, he's like the one small bright spot on their offense, but like any receiver, I'm just waiting for his moment to get all prima donna Tio on us and be like, I'm leaving. So that's where I'm at. Micah, like once again, he already pretty much proved that that's what he's gonna do in a couple of years. So I'm not paying him no mind. Like I can't trust the Cowboys. Never. I can't. I just can't buy in with them. It's because every year they do this is our year, we them boys me. And I'm like, I'm not buying it. I'm just not buying it.
All right. So this next song is a newer song that dropped last week. It's from one of my favorite artists, Leon Thomas. It's called "Who Are You Anyway?" And that's for the Giants. No idea who their quarterback's going to be, what the heck their GM's doing, who outside of Malik Neighbors is even a star. Malik Neighbors and Dexter Lawrence are the only star players on that team. Who are you anyway, Giants? Yeah, that's it. That's all I got.
Okay, so ready. Here's what's crazy though. Is I had an idea. So I'm gonna give my honorable mention because I almost went the route you went. I was gonna go Marvin Gaye, what's going on? I don't know what's going on with them at all. I instead decided to get a little fun and go the far side passing me by. Because that's what every other team is doing to them right now. They're just gonna go right past you and be better than you, and y'all gonna be in the bag. Keep passing me by. I admit though, for the Giants GM, I picked a special song for him. Because as you know, as a Derrick Henry fan, this man is responsible for the hate watch I had to proceed to go on this year and get pissed me off. So for him, I picked a song by Evelyn Champagne King. I picked Shame because you should be ashamed of yourself for the garbage you decided to pull off. I am actually furious. You're supposed to let that man ride in New York. So I keep saying Derrick Henry's the best running back in the league. This is now the third year that someone has made a dumb mistake and I've had to pay for it. Because first, Josh Jacobs had to run like a top 5 running back in 22. And McCaffrey wanted to do well in San Francisco last year on me. And now this year, I got to suffer this mess because you don't want to pay the one person on your team who was doing well. So for you, shame. I am furious at that man. I'm going to lose sleep. I hope you do. Honestly, I hope when you go to the bathroom at 3 a.m., you stub your toe. I am so mad at that man for letting him go. It's genuine distaste in my heart for that man. Like if I ever saw him, I would just look at him and be like, I'd give that look like because oh my goodness.
Got you.
I can't. So furious with that man.
So if you guys enjoyed this, we're gonna do this for like the rest of the teams in the offseason because this has been very fun. And yeah, man, shout out to the championship Eagles. Shout out to Jalen Hurts winning Super Bowl MVP after being again counted out like crazy. Jay Daniels for having a good season. And the Cowboys and Giants. Well, we'll see next year.
I will admit though, I will give a shout out to Saquon Barkley as much as I was on a hate watch this year because without a doubt, that man just went on the best running back season of all time.
Yeah,
that is unspoken for.
Right. Again, broke all the records. Literally, And again, carried them to a Super Bowl. Like the breakaway runs every single playoff game, just demoralizing. Like again, like it felt like watching, like a Steph Deep Three in 2016, where it's just
No,
like
that's really what it was.
like a Saquon. That was what the Saquon breakaway touchdown felt like this whole year. It's just like, when's it gonna happen? When's it gonna happen? And then boom,
ridiculous.
it happens. And yeah, I'm really proud of that team. Proud of the Eagles.
Derrick Henry 2025. That's what I'm rooting for.
Derrick Henry 2025.
We're gonna finally do it ourselves.
Yeah. I lived in South Jersey for a little while, so again, a lot of love for Eagles fans. You feel me? Back when I was working at ShopRite, they were the nicest people to come in. So shout out to them. But yeah, this has been a great episode of Generational Debates. I'm Christopher Davis.
I'm DJ Harding.
All right, we out. See, you did better that time.
I caught it. I caught it that time.
All right, peace.